There are words a woman forgets, and others that stay etched between her legs. It doesn't matter how hard you try, how much you give her, or how well you treat her. If you don't awaken her desire on a symbolic, visceral level, you'll be the right man she never remembers. Because in a woman's mind, the right nickname isn't just a sweet little game. It's a key to the subconscious, a mark of belonging, an emotional brand that makes her yours without her even realizing it. Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 forbidden nicknames, the ones that make a woman obsessed, make her chase you, respect you, and fear you. The last one is so powerful that if you use it without being ready, she'll never let you go. I'm Celia, and this is your House of Wisdom. Watch this video until the end, and call her something no man has ever dared to before. Have you ever wondered why she doesn't remember you, even though you were the kindest, most loyal, most available man in her life? Maybe you took care of her, supported her, defended her, but you didn't leave a mark. Because desire doesn't linger where there was effort. It stays where there was identity, and a man who doesn't know how to name doesn't know how to lead. You're at the first point of this video, and we're going to talk about the nickname that places her in your world, not in her ego. When a woman meets you, she analyzes you in silence, not by what you say, but by how you name her. If you call her by the same pet names her ex used, those babe, honey, or princess clichés, you've already lost, because you're not creating anything new in her mind. You're just occupying recycled space. But when you name her with a term that doesn't come from tenderness, but from power, her subconscious registers something different. It registers that you're not here to follow her story. You're here to write your own. And if she wants to be part of it, she'll have to adapt to your codes, not the other way around. Picture this. She's telling you about her day, her thoughts, her achievements. But in the middle of the conversation, you look at her and say, "Little savage." You don't explain it. You don't justify it. You just say it and keep talking. In her mind, something uncontrollable starts happening. She begins to wonder why you called her that. What did you see in her? What instinct kicked in? What does little savage mean to you? That nickname pulls her out of her own narrative. It places her in your universe. And most importantly, it throws her off balance. Because women don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they can't quite categorize. The problem is, most men use nicknames to please, to sound romantic, to be liked, and they don't understand that a nickname is a symbolic act of leadership. It means, I name you because I'm bringing you into my world, because I don't want you to be just another one. I want you to be mine, on my terms. And if that nickname doesn't come from your strength, your core, your masculine truth, she'll smell it, she'll spot it, she'll discard it, because she's not looking for sweetness, she's looking for dominance. So before you go looking for the perfect nickname, ask yourself this: where are you naming from? From need or from choice? Because only the man who knows how to choose knows how to name. And only the one who names leaves a mark. Naming her from your world is the first act of power, but keeping her there takes more than just a bold phrase. It requires understanding how her most primal desire works, because a woman may admire you with her mind, but she only surrenders with her body when something deeper is triggered, something beyond logic or reasoning. We've reached the second key point in this video, and it's the one that activates her instinct for sensual submission. A woman isn't just looking for the right man. She's looking for the man who makes her surrender. Not out of fear, out of attraction. From that masculine energy that can't be explained, but can definitely be felt. That nickname that doesn't flatter her, but gently dominates her touches, an ancestral part of her mind. The place where desire blurs into surrender. It's not an insult, it's not vulgar, it's a key. One that unlocks her most vulnerable, most feminine side, ready to be guided. And that's not achieved by the man who asks for permission. It's achieved by the one who radiates direction. In deep psychology, this is understood as a non-violent dominant frame, meaning a man who doesn't need to raise his voice or impose anything because his very presence sets the tone, And when that kind of man calls her my little wolf, my pretty witch, my storm, he's planting a contradictory message that the female brain can't reject. Because on one hand it acknowledges her, sets her apart, but on the other, it symbolically claims her. And that mix, that tension between validation and control, is exactly what makes her obsessed. Stoicism teaches that true dominance isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering the response you create in them. And once you understand that, you stop looking for the cutest nickname and start using the most strategic one, the one that doesn't make her comfortable, the one that doesn't lull her with sweetness, but the one that wakes her up from within, that reminds her, without saying it, that you're not here to please. You're here to provoke, to lead, to ignite. And let me make it clear, a woman doesn't surrender to the man who brings her flowers. She surrenders to the one who makes her feel fragile without breaking her, small without humiliating her, desired without flattering her. That nickname isn't a game. It's a silent declaration that you understand her nature, even better than she does. And when you say it, her body doesn't ask for permission, it just reacts. If you've already understood that a nickname shouldn't flatter but dominate, and that its power lies in touching the instinctual, then it's time to go further, with something subtler, yet infinitely more powerful. Because there's a very thin line between what a woman desires and what she's afraid to lose. And that tension is the fuel behind her obsession. We've reached the third point, and this is where everything shifts. We're going to talk about the nickname that reminds her she's not unique, but desperately wants to be. The female mind can't stand feeling replaceable. She can handle being praised. She can tolerate being dominated. But if, at any point, she senses you could say the same thing to another woman, something lights up. It's not love, it's competition. It's the need for validation. It's that silent war that begins when she realizes you're not begging, you're choosing. The strategic nickname here shouldn't be too obvious or overly intimate. It has to sit right on the edge, as if you could say it to anyone, but when you say it to her, it sounds different, as if it carries another meaning. That creates ambiguity. And ambiguity is the most dangerous weapon in seduction, because it doesn't confirm her place, nor does it deny it. It leaves her in limbo. And in that limbo, she starts doing more for you than she ever would if she felt secure. Picture this. Things are going well, you're talking, and suddenly you call her my little storm. It's not cute, it's not typical, it's not romantic, but it has something. It has weight. And when she asks, "Why do you call me that?" you just smile and say nothing. What happens in her head? She unravels, because she can't categorize you, because she needs to know if that name is just hers. But you don't give her the answer, and that need turns into obsession. Psychologically, this is known as emotional dissonance. She likes you, but doesn't know where she stands, and instead of pulling away, she leans in, because her mind wants to solve the puzzle, because her ego needs to conquer what doesn't yet feel fully hers. And if you know how to hold that balance, without explaining yourself, without giving in, without becoming her therapist, then you've stopped seducing. You've started claiming territory with elegance. Before we move on to the next point, where we'll dive into the most intimate part of female desire, I ask you one thing. If this is revealing truths no one's ever dared to tell you, hit like and subscribe. It's the only way this message reaches other men who need to wake up. And tell me in the comments which country you're watching from, because the final lesson won't just make her obsessed, it might give you back the respect you thought you'd lost. After understanding how well-placed ambiguity can obsess her more than 1,000 love declarations, we now arrive at one of the most delicate strategies, and also one of the most dangerous if you don't know how to handle it. Because here, it's not enough to dominate. You're stepping into the realm of deep emotion, into that space where a woman doesn't just desire, she surrenders without knowing why. We've reached the fourth point in this video, and it's the one that touches her wound and makes her vulnerable. Many men make the mistake of speaking to a woman from the surface, from the obvious, from what she shows, and they never reach what truly controls her, her emotional wound, the one she doesn't talk about, the one she barely even acknowledges. But that can be triggered with a single, well-placed word. The mistake is thinking emotion should be avoided to avoid seeming weak. But this isn't about crying with her. It's about seeing what she hides, about spotting her crack and naming it, not to heal it, to claim it. A nickname that touches that wound, the one from her childhood, her insecurity, her history of rejection, isn't said as a joke. It's said with calm, with a tone that blends tenderness and direction. It could be something like, my fearful girl, my little chaotic one, my hidden one. And when you say it, she breaks inside, because she realizes you saw her, that you didn't fall for the strong character she performs, but for the part she keeps hidden. And in that moment, she can no longer defend herself, because her armor has been pierced, because her mask is useless with you. The mental trap many men fall into here is believing they must be cold to maintain power. But real power isn't hardness, it's depth. It's seeing something in her that even she hasn't dared to look at. And when you give her a nickname that touches her emptiness, not her beauty, not her body, not her role, you're telling her without words, I don't need you to be perfect, I just need you to be real. And for a woman who spent years being strong out of necessity, not choice, that is addictive. But be careful. This point demands maturity, because if you touch her wound and then disappear, you don't just hurt her, you leave her unprotected. This nickname is not to be used lightly. It's for when you're ready to lead, not just seduce. When you're ready to hold space without being consumed, because a man who touches a wound without clarity becomes an unconscious manipulator. But a man who does it from his center becomes unforgettable. And right here, on this razor-thin line, is where your true power is defined. Because you're no longer playing to be liked. You're deciding whether you want to leave a real mark, not with force, with vision, with a word she didn't know she needed until she heard it from your lips. We've reached the 5th point in this video, and maybe the most uncomfortable of all, the nickname that names her as you desire her to be, not as she presents herself. Because at this stage, it's no longer about dominating her, touching her wound, or creating ambiguity. It's about making one thing clear. You're not with the woman she claims to be, you're with the woman you see beneath the mask. And for many men, that's impossible. Because they've been so emotionally tamed, they only see what she allows them to see. When a man calls a woman, my goddess, my queen, my world, he's not praising her. He's handing over power. He's placing her above him. He's telling her, you decide what I am to you. And from that place, desire dies. All that's left is servitude. But when you break that pattern, and, without asking for permission, call her my little submissive, my wild side, my untamable need, you're showing something deeper than desire. You're showing vision. You're saying, I don't care about the image you project to the world. I know who you are with me, and I name you from there. And do you know why that disarms her? Because women have spent their lives building an identity for the world. Strong, autonomous, independent. But that's not their deepest truth. The truth appears when a man doesn't fall for the character, but for the emotional animal underneath. And if you manage to see that and give it a name, you become something she can't control. And everything a woman can't control becomes her obsession. The most common mistake is that, as a man, you try to adapt to her narrative. You accept her rational version of herself. You treat her as an executive, a mother, a modern woman, forgetting that beneath all of that is a female who wants to surrender, but not to just anyone, only to the man who sees her, desires her, and names her without asking for approval. Because if you're waiting for her permission to turn her on, you've already turned yourself off. And yes, this part is uncomfortable, because it forces you to stop being correct, to stop being predictable. It forces you to see the woman not as a victim, not as superior, but as what she truly is, a deeply dual being who wants to lose control, but only with someone who doesn't beg for it. And if you embrace that mindset, if you dare to name her from your desire, not from her narrative, you'll stop being the man who walks beside her and become the man who leaves a mark. This isn't taught in books. This isn't said in couples therapy. This is learned by living, by losing, by hitting rock bottom. And if you're here, it's because you've lived enough. It's because you're ready to stop being the nice guy and start being the unforgettable man. Not with flowers, with vision, not with begging, with words that strip away what she's afraid to show and make her beg, not for love, but for belonging. If you made it to the end of this video, you're not like the rest, because not everyone has the courage to face what makes them uncomfortable. What shakes them? What demands real change? Most people keep repeating the same empty nicknames, the same worn-out phrases, thinking that being sweet is enough. But not you. You chose to see the truth, that a woman doesn't obsess over the man who gives her everything. She obsesses over the one who knows how to name her from his core, not from his lack. Today I showed you 5 nicknames that aren't meant to please, but to make an impact, to touch what she hides, to leave a mark that doesn't fade with time or with another man's body. If you understood the power behind these words, don't use it to manipulate. Use it to become the kind of man a woman doesn't dare forget. The one who leads without shouting, who ignites without asking permission, who names and transforms. Drop one phrase in the comments. To name is to dominate. And tell me which country you're watching this from. Because it doesn't matter if you're in Mexico, Argentina, or Spain. Female psychology is the same. It craves what it can't control and remembers what it can't classify. I'm Celia, woman, psychologist, and therapist. And this is your house of wisdom. I didn't come to comfort you. I came to give you back the respect, clarity, and desire you lost when you tried to be the nice guy. If this video opened your eyes, hit subscribe and be part of this community of men who stopped being used and started being desired. Share it with that friend who still talks like a boy to a woman who's already playing with his head. And don't go just yet. Watch the videos that are about to pop up on your screen. Pick the one that makes you the most uncomfortable. Because right there, in what you avoid looking at, is what you most need to hear.